Alright, so welcome to today's video. Got a special guest here. I kind of roped her into doing it. She didn't really know what was going to happen. I said, you're in the video. And you see that look? Yeah, I know that look. So, alright, so today, Patty yesterday had asked us to do a video because we've been asking people for suggestions. She's just staring right at me, isn't she? She's just staring. I can feel her eyes on me. Jeez. This is great. It's just one video, alright? Try to behave for 5 minutes, please. So, yesterday Patty asked a question and asked, how did I come to, find out I was a medium, figure out I was a medium, and kind of own the whole thing. So, I'm going to let Karen start that story by telling, yeah, exactly. You tell the story about how when we first met, what I was doing for your friends and whatnot. And look at them when you're talking. This is all day I deal with this.
Okay, so when we met, I'm on the phone with this person who I've never met in person, and he's telling me about how he worked with a friend of his from his Panthers videos, and he was able to help alleviate her headache. And I was working with a bunch of different people who were dealing with different chronic issues, and so I decided to test him out with my friends and see if he could do the same thing for my friends.
Yeah, what she's referring to is I did some distance energy work on my friend that I got rid of the migraine.
You did?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
So, what story do you want me to tell?
You don't have to give it away, but I guess you just talk about, We're going to cut the video right here because apparently Karen can't improv.
I'm not the improv person. There's a reason I haven't been on these.
There's like 2 stories. Just pick one and tell it.
There's 2?
Okay, so what happened? What happened? This will be the last video Karen's in. What happened was she was asking me specific questions about some of her friends. They were having some health issues and whatnot. And I was just laying in bed. Like I said, we never even physically met at this point. And I just started picking up things and hearing things that were pertinent to her friends. And long story short, when she went back to them, we'll just say the information was accurate. So that's how it started for us. And she's just staring right at me, isn't she? Look at the camera.
There's nobody there.
This is the worst video ever, but I'm not editing on any of this. I am not. This is going on. All right, Patty, to answer your question, it's been a journey. I guess the final nail in the head, and you can tell the second half to this story. Okay, there were 2 things that happened. Actually 3. We were at a meeting with a group of people, and one of the ladies was talking about her deceased son, and while she was talking to the entire group of everybody, her son started talking to me. So I had a message for her that I delivered afterwards, and it was dead on, it was accurate, and she got emotional, and so we were talking about that on the way home, and then I will let Karen tell this part of the story. Look at them.
This part of the story I know.
All right.
Well, I watched you over time. That's the thing. I watched you over time do distance healing and come up with little tidbits of information that in the moment didn't sound like it was anything. But as I would give people these words, they would come back to me later and go, oh my gosh, he was right on. So, but I'm a skeptic, naturally, and I question everything.
Twice.
Or 3 times. And so after that meeting with a group of friends where he picked up this message from this woman's son, I had not really asked him a lot of questions personally about me, and I wanted some sign that he was really getting this information. And I was very close to my grandmother, and she and I had a lot of little secrets, little phrases that we would exchange with each other that nobody else in the family, I don't think, ever really knew about. And so on the way home, we were kind of quiet, and we talked about it a little bit, and I just started to say, if my grandmother ever, and he turns to me and he says, pumpkins, which is a very odd thing to say in the middle of a sentence before I complete it, but what he did not know, and what I don't even think anybody in my family knows, is that once my grandmother was making sweet potato pies at holiday time. And I asked her, why do you make sweet potato pies instead of pumpkin pies? And she said, because there's no other pumpkins as sweet as you, pumpkin, so I make sweet potato pies. And every year, that was a thing between us.
Right. So once we got confirmation of that, that was when I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to own it. But then we had one more thing that had to happen. Long story short, we had a client, and I was asked to go to Awake, and I was asked to view the body. And when I was with the body, I received a message for the client. And this was it was an interesting episode because I was it's kind of surreal. I'm standing there fighting with the deceased person's spirit because I was incredulous because they were telling me what to say, and I kept saying, "You want me to say what?" Because the message they were asking me to deliver was, it wasn't grandma's cookie recipe. It was you want me to say what? So after a couple minutes of that, I said, all right. And long story short, I went over and delivered the message, and it was completely dead on. There was something that only the two of them could have known in her last days. And so he broke down crying, and I didn't break down crying. I just kind of broke down like, oh, okay, this is real. I'm not making this up. This is really what's happening. And so at that point, that's when I was kind of like, all right, I'm a medium, and even now, the word medium doesn't quite cover it. To me, still doesn't feel exactly right. And the reason why that is because, yes, I have a gift where, I'll get messages from the deceased. I'll have a connection there. But I think the thing that I do that helps my clients and is much more interesting to me is that I have a connection with the living's spirit. So I can be having a conversation with the client, and they're talking to me, and in one ear, and in the other ear, their spirit is talking to me, contradicting what's coming out of their mouth, and telling me how to kind of, draw the conversation a different way so that we can help the living actual person get to where they are trying to get to. So, all right, I think Karen has had enough screen time. She's just staring at me with laser beam eyes like, end this video now. So that's what we're going to do. All right, Patty, I hope that answers your question.
Patty.
Thank you guys for watching, and if anybody else has any ideas or subjects they'd like us to cover, or if they'd like me to cover it without Karen staring at me throughout the whole video, that'd be awesome too. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow.